And we're back. Game number 2 of our leadoff best of 3 of the day. It's an EG doubleheader. They're taking on Fnatic here in the first series of the day at the D2L Western Challenge. And they find themselves trailing by 1 game. And yeah, we can see both these teams know what they like. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're a Fnatic, in the meantime, EG, hell, doesn't matter if it's a square peg. You pound it hard enough, it'll fit in a round hole. To break down the draft and as well as everything else that goes on throughout today and throughout the entire Western Challenge. Welcome in our analyst and color commentary guy, Trouf, Dota, and Trouf. Is it just me, or have we seen this already?
Yeah, I know. It is kind of funny to look at. I actually really like by Fly picking the Slark right away, not giving EG a chance to ban him, because while there are counters still available for EG, they have 3 more picks, it's still quite a good hero against Darkseer and Treant, because it's not real lockdown right there. Also, Wisp banned out by EG, and for good reason. No-Tail played a fantastic Wisp. One of the few players, I think, still with the the long nerfs, or I should say the nerfs a long time ago, onto IO. No-Tail, to me, stands out as one of the premier players for that hero. I really like the way he plays it. Just very heads up, very quick with everything, and I really like how he plays it. And yeah, as far as bans coming out now for Fly, maybe wondering if he's going to ban out some supports now, like some good supports for that Slark. Namely, Bane is quite okay. Well, Enigma is actually very good against Slark.
Yes.
With the Black Hole, as it constantly sucks him in. And EG has been known as one of the teams as of late, Zai playing Enigma, to run him quite frequently. It also combos quite nicely with Treant, the Overgrowth, and also with Darkseer being able to surge him and whatnot. So yeah, I really like how things have shaped up. I think Fnatic is playing smart as far as drafting goes.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And the Enigma, I'm actually, if I had to pick a hero that I think is going to get played more and more and more as we get towards tournament time, the big ones coming up, and especially the International coming up a handful of months from now, I think Enigma has a lot more room to be picked and played by a lot of teams, because you still see somewhat defensive tri lanes in a lot of situations. And a lot of that, it can be kind of high risk, high reward, because if you roam and you're ineffective, your supports tend to be underleveled, then you have to start to rotate other heroes away from lanes to make room for them to catch up. And it can just kind of cause a domino effect in how you have to try and keep your team adequately leveled and get your supports some gold. Whereas if you run an Enigma and you're expecting something that's going to be a little quiet from the enemy side, you can just say, the hell with it. I'll pick an Enigma. It's a very greedy pick, but I can rush items like Mech on him. That also takes a little bit of pressure off of supports in a lot of cases. And he can fit into a variety of lineups. Big team fight lineup, he's got you covered. You want to push, he's got you covered there as well. And he can also roam on his own, coming out of the jungle with a couple of ticks into Malithus. So, yeah, I definitely like the hero pick there, the hero ban there from Fnatic. As you said, he does work really well with Slark, as well as with Centaur. And, but yeah, I mean, so far, looking the same on both sides. And EG, I think, is going to be looking for a lot more dedicated lockdown for that Slark, because as you pointed out so astutely in Game 1, as farmed as Tiny was and as good a game as he had, towards the end, it just became all about the inability to control that Slark, who just ran completely over EG down the stretch.
Reserve time.
And I think you muted your mic, so hopefully you'll flip the switch, maybe? All right, whatever. Oh, no, looks like he actually dropped again, unfortunately, so we should have him back on in just a moment. But EG still waiting to show us their 3rd pick out. Fnatic also banning out the Tinker, which I think is a very interesting pick, or interesting ban. They know just how effective Arteezy is on that hero, and that hero in and of himself can help create a lot of space across the map once he gets up his boots of travel, on top of just being a hero that, even though he doesn't carry the way that, say, a Slark will or a Tiny will in the late game, he does have the ability to carry just because of his item picks. You're able to chain Scythe, chain Dagon, chain Shivas even, and of course Blink for mobility and so on and so forth. He does play a lot like a late game carry hero. This time it's going to be EG who snags themselves the Bane, while Fnatic is limited to the Bad Rider. So EG taking away Fly's Bane. That also gives them a decent answer to Slark if they can position themselves correctly, as Bane's Fiend's Grip, of course, will be able to lock Slark down so long as they can get an eye on him. The Bad Rider, though, is nice single target initiation, and looks like we'll have to go out of our way to try to get Trouf back on here in just a moment. So sorry about losing him, and certainly his inside analysis mind not going to measure up to his, but we'll do what we can. But yeah, the Bane and the Treant do have the ability to lock Slark down at least for a little while. Bad Rider, though, good single target initiation and a strong laner in a variety of ways. You can do things like run him off lane, you can run him mid. We saw that Fnatic did run Trixie in the offlane as a Centaur last time around, but that was with a duo mid, so they could end up changing that up a little bit. But we already saw how effective Slark is, no matter who he's up against, even up against a tri-lane. If he could just get his levels, he'll have the ability to catch up and to start farming heroes as well as CS later on. OD will be the pickup for Arteezy, and the OD gives them some much-needed damage output, and really that's what's lacking from their side from what I can see so far. You look at Fnatic, you have a lot of heroes who can do a lot of damage in a variety of ways. Centaur, especially once he gets up a Hood of Defiance, is going to be able to spam out the double edge without a whole lot to worry about, and that's a nice amount of burst that also functions at AoE. Slark the same way with Dark Pact, and of course what he can bring to you in terms of single target damage once he gets up an item or two. Batrider with the Firefly damage adds to all of that. Teamfight AoE and Venomancer, of course, with Poison Nova, as well as his Venomous Gale. Certainly helps out there too. When you look at EG, they've got some pretty good control this time. Darkseer, who will be handled by Universe almost assuredly, is excellent, no doubt about it. While Treant Protector, as good as the hero is in utility, he can have a little bit of damage output early in lane. But Bane and Tree, mostly there for control, mostly there to set the pace early on. OD, with his big AoE nuke, Insanity's Eclipse, is a nice addition to that, and he can pour out some decent right-clicks so long as he can stay alive and so long as he can be adequately leveled and be where he wants to be item-wise. But after that, they just don't have any sustained DPS. Now, the Storm Spirit pickup is interesting in and of itself. We've seen Mason run that hero before and have a lot of success on it, but Storm, basically, I feel like EG, just based on what we see so far, you know, they're going to be farming Arteezy on the OD, and that's going to be fine. But it's all going to come down to Mason's play of the Storm, if it is indeed going to be Mason on the Storm Spirit to begin with. If he can be effective, if he can get up some quick items like an Orchid, especially to help deal with the Slark, that'll help out tremendously. And Storm's an amazing spirit when played well. Deceptive, how much damage output he can have even before he's able to get up. Offensive abilities, but now with the Shadow Shaman pickup, that gives a lot of control, a lot of additional control that's much needed in the face of that Storm Spirit pickup. As mobile as he is, you looked at what Fnatic has. They have Pounce, they have Stomp, they have Batrider's Lasso, but still tough to just grab a Storm with those abilities for the most part when he's moving through. Now you have an instant stun coming out of the Shadow Shaman with Hex, and of course Shackles to follow up on any hero, even the OD, that's very effective on. So once again, I really like Fnatic's draft. EG sticking with what they know. It'll be Zai on the Bane as we're waiting to see him picked up. We will take a moment to see if we can dial Trout back in just as this game is ready to get underway. So let's take a moment, see if hopefully we can get him back on the call. And hopefully, yep, there's our man.
Hey.
Welcome
hey, yeah,
back.
Sorry about that. This internet's been crappy, and it's been doing this thing where consistently, like every 45 minutes, it DCs for like 2 seconds. That's it. Mm-hmm. And in Dota, I come right back, but in Skype, because Skype is the wonderful program that it is, it just sits there. So yeah.
Well, you know, it's one of those issues that hopefully won't be an issue for too much longer. Of course, we thank you so much for letting us dial you in from Korea, but who knows? You know, spoiler alert: potential for you to maybe be in studio sometime before the end of, sometime before all said and done with the Western Challenge show. We'll look to keep the fans updated on that. We can see there's no action going on real quick, and I broke down the draft as well as I could, and let's see if I was on the mark at all. Why don't you go ahead and give us your 2 cents on how you think these two drafts stand up against each other?
Well, I talked about potential bans from Fnatic as far as protecting that Slark, and that's not the main thing that you have to do. It's not like, oh, we got to ban around one hero, but sometimes it's good to do that. But it looks like EG kind of got heroes that they wanted against it. I mean, I mentioned the Bane. Bane's picked up. Storm Spirit, pretty darn good against Slark. So is OD, because when OD gets huge items, it's very difficult for Slark to do anything. And also, one of the good things about, or against Slark, I should say, are like massive burst in AoE damage that can be done to heroes that have invis. That's why Shadow Fiend is so good against Slark. And the same kind of idea goes with an OD that's super fed, because if he gets tons of intelligence, that ult's going to hit through Slark through his ultimate, even though you know, you can't attack him. So I actually like the heroes around Slark specifically, but of course Fnatic still has extremely good team fight and lots of AoE.
Yeah, that's we're pretty much of the same mind. I didn't make so much a thing of Storm versus Slark, although you're very right. That is obviously an excellent hero. Bane's a good answer to that as well. I really like the Shadow Shaman last pick for Fnatic. I feel like that gives them a really nice hero to try and deal with the Storm Spirit with the instant Hex. And, of course, just even more lockdown. Their AoE and their teamfight potential is just through the damn roof. They have so many ways to do damage, and if you're Slark coming into a fight, you even have to worry about Firefly damage and a few other things. Now, this is interesting in the lanes with Zai and Arteezy going one-on-one against Hani and just using the Enfeebled to try and hold him down as long as they can. So they're going to have him enfeebled and feeling pretty damn dumb at the same time as he continues to be banished. It's going to be very difficult for Hani to get much of any CSing done, though the harassment is certainly there. And Arteezy's actually in a lot of trouble here. He's got 7 stacks, and Arteezy playing way too far forward, ends up dropping for first blood to Hani. There will be a return kill, but Arteezy not sucking up any of that experience. Zai taking all of the gold and XP from that kill, and that's a pretty big mistake this early on. That's a duo. It's a 2-on-1, and he had next to no damage under his belt thanks to the Enfeeble, and still able to bring him down.
Yeah, I was actually watching a little bit of bottom, so I saw just the end of that, but 7 stacks, it's not like, oh no, where did all the stacks come from? Like,
yeah.
It builds up rather slowly. So top lane, actually, Trixie in a little bit of trouble. Mason took a lot of damage, and Trixie, I think, will be fine. Oh, no, Zai actually is coming out here. Yeah, Trixie's definitely going to go down here.
Yep.
So unfortunately, yeah, he gets a stun out, but to no avail. But what level is he? He's level 2, actually, only 3 CS, so kind of an unfortunate death there for him. As the creep equilibrium, I guess neither one of us can talk today, is still in favor of Fnatic, or still in favor of EG.
Bottom.
So.
Universe in a bit of trouble. Will be able to surge himself as in just a moment. Fly had an ether shock and didn't spend it. Don't know that it would have made the difference as it was just level 1, but let off with the shackles, and maybe an extra swipe or 2 from the Slark would have been enough to bring it down. Nonetheless, he's forced out of lane and all the way back to the well, so that frees things up just a little bit. And if there's one thing EG has going for them, it's the fact Zai's off to a great start. Already level 3.5 at 2.5 minutes in, thanks to that return kill in mid and being a part of the kill at top on Trixie. So early laning phase, definitely action-packed.
I actually really don't know why No2L didn't just start bottom for like 1 level, because there was an instance where, I mean, most Darkseers will almost always get Shell level 1. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a Darkseer have a good time with Surge level 1, and there was a moment there where Fly was actually holding Universe in place, Slark was beating on him, but they didn't have enough damage, and 100% he would have died if No2L was there, and I just don't know why he wouldn't even just start there just to try for a little bit. So kind of curious to me, and as a result, as you see, Hani CS is not what he wants it to be, because they've been trying to go for, or no, not Hani, but Era. Era CS isn't what he wants it to be, because they've been trying to go for kills. As a result, he's missed a lot of CS.
Speaking of kills, an attempt to top on Trixie, but he gets to stomp off and is able to keep himself alive. We can see Universe beginning to catch up a little bit. He was run all the way out of lane, but did disrupt the double pull on the side of Fnatic. Fly had that taken away from him. And a little bit of back and forth here in the jungle as Zai spotted Hani out, got the Nightmare off. Hani level 5 with a double damage rune up. He did get spotted, so it's not like Universe isn't going to be aware that he could be on the way. And yeah, it doesn't even look like he's that worried about it as Hani, or excuse me, yeah, it is Hani. On the Bad Rider does decide to just go right on back to jungling. So we're at 4 minutes in, and we'll take a quick look at efficiency. We do have a couple of kills across the board, but we're basically dead even. So even though EG leads in terms of, oh wow, Slark actually finally did get a kill on Universe down at bottom. Was too busy looking at what it meant, even though they had a lead, or even though they had a kill lead. But either way, Fnatic knots that up, so that should put them slightly in the lead.
Yeah, Slark got a lot of extra damage from the Essence shift, and we're able to down him. And then actually, you know, I was saying that for the very first minute or wave, I think No2L maybe should have been down there, but as far as what they're doing now is spreading out the farm, I think it's quite smart. Because No2L with the wards maxing out here early on, Venomancer against OD, it's actually quite good as far as getting last hits, because you can get last hits even when you're banished with your wards. And he's 18 and oh no, I'm looking at the wrong person. He's 13 and 10, so it's not too bad against an OD. And in the meantime, spreading out resources to Hani in the jungle.
Zai has not really gained much experience in a while, but he is bouncing from lane to lane, just trying to slow people down with that Enfeeble. Only 1 point into it, but that's all he needs. As we can see, Era has been a little disrupted by it. And up at top, we're going to have Trixie caught with the Leech Seed. Mason's right there, not level 6, so doesn't have Ball Lightning, won't need it. PPD there with one last auto attack from distance. Hang on, there's a Nightmare onto Hani. Universe is right there with him. Zai with a Brain Sap if he wants to use it. And Universe just going to try to pursue him out. Yeah, looks like they don't even want to try. and didn't want to take any chances on someone else showing up. Now Zai's going to get eyes on him again. Here comes Universe doubling back around, and Zai still, yep, there's another nightmare. Courier shows itself. Here comes a TPN, and Hani's going to end up dropping. They tried to get the lasso off. Trixie hits a two-man stomp. Here comes Flying to help. Ether Shock catches both, and the shackles on the Universe. The right target to pick for sure. Up, they will get him. One last auto attack from Trixie, so obviously letting Zai get away after diving that deep. Not optimal, but they do get a return. Still, 2-for-1 exchange when all's said and done, as EG now leads 5-3.
Yeah, Hani actually did cast the lasso at the literally split second. I don't think it matters too much because without the blink, you're not really going to find too many targets, but kind of unfortunate. They were able to get a counter kill though, so good for them.
8 kills, 6 minutes in, and both teams remaining very active. I don't expect this to back off, and you know, this is just where EG, hang on, we're going to have a stampede on Artesian mid. Trixie there with the stomp. TP's immediately coming in. There's the living armor to buy time. PPD comes in to try and help. There's the leash sheet to slow them down. Zai's there as well. They may have overcommitted. Oh, here comes Hani. Hani looking for the lasso and actually got banished before he could get it off. PPD makes it away with next to no health, but Hani, oh, he didn't have lasso. That's why he didn't get it off. He was just flying in to get the Firefly damage. Still 24 seconds on CD. And the Venomancer once again still waiting to respond. So Fnatic not moving nearly as well, and EG up to a great start. Could be a return on Hani. Brain Sap, vacuum back, and the Ion Shell plus a few auto attacks will be enough. Universe with the patented karate chop kill. And EG, this is very much what I think we expect to see from EG in game one. And they just kind of seemed like they never got a lot ahead of steam up. This time around, though, they're off to a great start, 7-3.
Questionable plays, honestly, from Hani. And also, when they had initiation there on mid with the Gale plus the ult from Centaur, it's a very good idea, but they should have known right when they started attacking him and using all their spells with the living armor on TZ. He was just way too friggin' tanky. Like, he was they should have just evaluated, okay, this isn't going to work, and backed off. And they would have been fine. They would have actually wasted EG's TPs, but they tried to go for it. They tried to press the issue for some reason, and then Hani was walking mid with no reason to because his ult was on cooldown.
Lies in trouble. And there's the Brain Sap, couple of auto attacks. Yep, that'll do. That was a double damage room picked up by Arteezy in River, and that's going to make it 8-3. So I'll tell you what, man, coming into this, I liked Fnatic's draft more than I liked EG's. I thought EG was going to match up much better this time than they did in game one, but they're just executing immensely better. And at 8 minutes in, we can see they've already built close to a 2,000 gold lead. Now, not to say that it's the end of the world, but 2,000 gold at 8 minutes is a pretty big deal, especially with no towers down on either side.
Yeah, I think what you just said at the end there is a big deal with no towers down, because normally when you see early gold leads, it's all from the towers. But yeah, I don't know. I just think Hani's not having the best game so far on bat. That can all change when he gets the blink though. Initiation up top on the Mason, but oh no, he gets caught. Living armor though is going to save him. This is not a kill. Yep.
PPD. Now they may reinitiate. He's going to jump forward. Can he catch? Couldn't get the vortex off. Didn't have the mana. PPD's right there, has a lead sheet. Not fast enough, trying to slow him down. And Mason, PPD, he got hexed right before he died. Trixie still can't come out to initiate. Arrow was there, but coming out into Zai and Mason both, even though they are lacking in mana desperately. In fact, Zai can't do much of anything at this point, but still can't take that chance. And EG able to flip that around. And going on Mason there's a little questionable. I mean, he's level 8. You had to know that unless you blew him up in one go, he was going to be able to bounce the safety that close to his tower. They took the chance and it blew up in their face.
Yeah, I don't know how many times they're going to try this before they learn. Like, honestly, it wasn't even close with the living armor. And it's not like you can say, oh, maybe he forgets or doesn't do it. Like, you have to count on that every single time. And
right.
Like I said, yeah, didn't even look like they were close to killing him. I also don't know why Mason used his ult all the way back. Like, he was fine. It wasn't a big deal because they did get the kill on Rasta, but yeah, I don't know. How many times are they going to keep doing this before they realize that tree's OP, man?
He is. Ban the tree 2013. There was some guy, I remember I said that a lot last year, and there was a guy who made a shirt with it on it and had me sign it. That was fun. But yeah, I think it's time to bring it back, hoop and change and all that. But PPD's tree is damn good, for sure. And to be honest, like you said, that could have been even worse for Fnatic if Mason had just... if Mason had honestly just vortexed and then bounced back a little bit and bought a little bit more time for the reprisal from PPD, they would have been great. They honestly probably could have killed them both.
He could have just also just stood there and tanked the stun damage, because Double Edge was already used once, even though it is low cooldown. But I mean, that's really nitpicky because he still did fine and understood that
exactly.
They could have, But I think, yeah, Fnatic needs... Oh, here we go, action on the Trixie top.
Little aggressive that time, Mason. And he's going to end up dead because of it. And, yeah, that's... I understand he's farming in your face, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, he's sitting right in my face, right under his own tier 1. You have to figure maybe something's amiss and that Trixie didn't just suddenly decide to be not good at Dota. Like, that's usually not how that works.
Here's the thing, even with them not baiting him there, like, how does he get that kill?
Hang on, Zai. Oh, beautiful. Gale actually got RTC as well. They're going to get Zai for sure. Good shackle from Hani. And they're slowly but surely turning this around. If they can get a kill on RTC, it'll be huge. Nope. OD drops the hammer. No-Tail gets off the ulti. Zai's going to end up dead for sure. RTC banishing himself. Astral imprisoning himself anyway. Fly's low on mana. Has 1 Hex or 1 Shackle. There's Fly caught with the lead sheet, doing what he can. And Hani manages to get a double kill behind the fight. Now he's going to end up chased down by Mason. So he did decide to go ahead and pursue out RTZ. That a worthwhile exchange, you think? Trading the bat for the OD?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think they had a really great idea from Fnatic in spreading out their disables and damage, but they didn't kill Zai fast enough. I think that was the biggest problem. Also, during the meantime, this whole time, by the way, Darkseer is just like backlaning behind his tier 1 this whole time. And look at the damage that this tier 1 tower has taken as a result, just from creeps alone. So they haven't even fought with the Universe. He's got mech up right now. It's flying out to him. And this is when this EG style of Darkseer plus Tree plus whatever else starts to get very scary. Because OD has banished for mostly defensive capabilities, I think, at this point in the game.
Right.
And then you have mech, living armor, surge to help you get away. Era almost just died, by the way, to a creep with a shell on it as he's stuck in trees because he had to use his damn leap to get away. That's kind of sad.
That's just the strength of a Darkseer, man. And nobody better on the hero. Up, hang on. At top, we're going to have a jump on the Trixie again. There's the Fiend script to follow it up. TP's coming. Don't think it's going to be there fast enough. Trixie does end up dead. Flies there with the follow-up Ether Shock. But Nightmare's there, and RTZ with that haste rune comes into Astral Imprison. And let's see if they want to follow. There's a Gale was off the mark. Fly being pursued behind, and yeah, they're going to go and go for it. No-Tail now under his own tier 1. RTZ still using that haste rune to get himself to safety, and Mason TP's away right in their face as well. So that's a free 2 kills for EG, and they're now doubling up Fnatic. And really, my concern for EG's lineup was going to be when Fnatic started to roll as 5, but they're not having the chance. EG's moving too well. Now a Nightmare once again in the shadow of the tier 1, prompting as Trixie just coming back to lane. I was going to say a reaction, but not the case. But EG has carved this map up and is just dissecting Fnatic's lineup so effectively that they can't even get a chance to catch their breath.
Yeah, that was a questionable Gale by No-Tail. It was like not even close, and two to three heroes were basically in a line, but I don't think it mattered really too much. I think this game's going to come down to what can Era do with this farm, which honestly is very, very lackluster because Darkseer, I mean, it's not his fault. It's very difficult to try to get last hits and maintain your HP, even as a Slark with an ultimate against a Darkseer, because he's a melee and he's always going to take damage from the Ion Shell.
Yep.
So it's a matter of how much of an impact Era can have once he gets his Shadow Blade, which he almost has, and how many picks can they easily get with this Batrider plus Centaur ulti combo, which is very strong.
Mason making very good progress towards his Orchid. That's a big pickup for him, especially in the face of the Slark, who, as you said, is really becoming the hinge on which all of Fnatic's lineup is going to end up rotating. And without good play out of him, they're hurting badly. And with Mason being yet another answer to that amongst a couple of the others they had. I mean, he was already a decent answer, but now being able to silence him out, just going to be a big difference maker. Hani, I really feel like, is going to be another bright point for them. He's got his blink. He's got 1,600 gold tucked away as well. So if he wants a Force Staff right off the bat, he has it soon. He's got an Invis and looking for a target. Behind him, Arteezy's farming. Not a whole lot of help in range, though, so if he decides to go on either of these two, he could end up on an island all by himself.
I don't know what he's planning on doing, like solo against with no one else in range. Like if they had a Wisp on their team, maybe they could do something, but he's just wasting time, I feel. But yeah, as far as things for Fnatic to come back into this, I haven't even looked at the graph yet. Oh yeah, it's actually sizable EXP lead for EG. But it's really going to come down to bad initiations with the lasso. Hani's getting, offensive smoke coming out from EG. Hani might get picked here.
They're going to end up running right between their two targets. That's Hani and Trixie. Trixie's very, very low. If they see him at all, he dies immediately. But looks like, yeah, they know Bat's around. Hani, though, blinking to safety. And don't know that he ever had any idea just how much trouble he was in. Fly and Era now are likely to be collapsed on us. We see the TP to bottom by Mason. Mason level 11 as level 2 Ball Lightning.
This needs to be like everyone from Fnatic TP now, or they need to leave immediately.
Yep. Looks like
and it looks like the latter. Poor Fly is going to get... Oh, and he could TP out himself, too. Yeah, he's going to TP out. So smart play from Fnatic.
Yep. This tower, as you had mentioned, banged to pieces to begin with. And the top tier one's in great shape, though. And that's just kind of the story anytime you've got a tree. It's either a tower is either dead or it's in great shape. You don't really have a whole lot of middle ground. Now, TP's coming in. As Hani actually opted for Boots of Travel, comes in on the creeps. There's going to be the Poison Nova. There's a lasso on the Arteezy. Do they have the damage? Era's right there. Nightmare. They use defensively. Arteezy uses the ulti, but doesn't do as much damage. However, the vacuum into the wall reverses this fight completely. Trixie did buy his Blink Dagger right before he died. He's still alive for the moment. Hani's going to end up being Fiend's Grip and melted down by the Ion Shell. And Universe managing to get a couple of kills. This is the second game in a row, by the way. PPD's found himself on a killing spree as the Treant Protector. And PPD's tree might be the best I've ever seen. The more I look at it, the more I watch him play, he just never has an off game. And you see Goldblack, for example, play the hero a lot, but it'd be up and down. I have never seen PPD have a bad tree game.
Oh, you were going to stroke his ego so hard with that comment.
It's the truth, man. Like, it's just the truth.
And actually, even the last game when they lost, oh, here, initiation from Era.
Yep. Zai, brain sapping through that. There's a Hex, but that's a very quick Bane as Universe uses the mech to keep him up and running through the Ether Shock. So, even though a decent little attempt at a return, they're unable to get the return kill. In the meantime, Mason actually brings down the mid tower as well. So we're talking a doubling up Fnatic in terms of kills, and the towers now definitely moving in their direction as well. We're still very early on here, my friend, but it's 17 and a half minutes. What's the game plan for Fnatic to try and turn this back around and get it back to manageable?
Well, it needs to be the initiations that they had up top, except it needs to be not next to towers.
Yeah.
They had too much team support, and you see they have so many tools to help each other out. Like I mentioned, the Surge, Mech, Tree's Living Armor, the ulti, Zai's Defensive Sleep. They can't fight under towers like that. They need to go for different pickoffs outside of towers, but that's really hard to do. Tower, easy tower there. Oh, Mason going ham.
No tail. Hit with the Orchid, Vortex back, and they're going to try to reinitiate. Wards go down, beautiful stomp, caught him back. Oh, Universe with a great vacuum into the wall, and the Fiend's Grip from Zai right on the money as Hani ends up being Fiend's Grip right in front of those wards. Era doing what work he can, but still going to end up dropping. It's a 2-for-2 exchange, but Fnatic, oh, they're actually going to get PPD here. Perhaps. He is under nature's guise. They have to know where he is. Yeah, they're pinging it out.
They have a sentry down.
Yeah, oh, do they? Yeah, there it is. Actually got it confused with the Plague Wards, so he's definitely dropping. So EG, even though they had great plays to make that a bit more manageable, getting very aggressive and way over-committing, Fnatic able to take a much-needed win there. But the problem is they're still 10,000 gold behind. So even though they finally stopped the bleeding, it's still quite a big puddle gathered around their ankles.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of baffled that Fnatic really took that fight.
Yep.
That was like the fastest Astral I've ever seen from Arteezy. It was like an instant bat blink into an Astral. He must have like already had it clicked in vision and then bat blinked in and it just happened immediately because it was so damn fast. But No Tail, he had 4 wards on him, so he's going to be looking to place those throughout the map, as they haven't had too much vision up until, well, right about now is when they're going to. Hopefully they can start doing some counter warding too. That's one of the great tools of Slark, as he's walking into a ward right now. Yep, ping, 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 and they'll be able to de-ward that.
And looks like Universe drawing a lot of attention. Era's going to rush right up on him, look for a pounce, and sitting right at the edge, opting instead just for visioning. We'll see Arteezy float on by. But yeah, I mean, I'm completely with you. The EG played that fight out so well in that lane, even though they did overextend a bit. The Fiend's Grip was phenomenal. The Arteezy, Astral, as you had said, great. Universe was there with an excellent vacuum wall right in front of the wards that Shadow Shaman had dropped. And I think that might have been the problem. The follow-up next to the wards was a little bit difficult. But for now, Fnatic knows that's going on and can do nothing about it. Mason finds himself in Aegis.
Yep, and very good hero to have an Aegis on. And look at this progression too from items from Arteezy. This is not very suited to what his normal style is, but I think this suits the rest of the team comp quite well, as far as being like they know they have damage right now, and it's not through hard carry or Arteezy's items, it's through spells and whatnot, at least in this point of the game. They might need bigger items later on, but Arteezy figures, hey, if I can pop BKB and just live throughout the initial burst of or magic damage that Fnatic has between Veno and you know, Centaur and all that, then he'll be fine as long as he can live throughout that initial go from Fnatic.
Mason making his way up. Could be in trouble here if Hani spawns him. Yeah, it looks like Mason saying, yep, there's a bat there, and if there's a bat there, chances are most of Fnatic's there. And both teams kind of split up on opposite corners of the map as Fnatic's trying to collapse on tier 1 top. And this tower has been up and down from about 3/4 health to full health all game just because of PPD. And Fnatic not willing to commit. Yeah, they're going to go down to bottom trying to make something happen. PPD under Nature's guys might have a chance to spot him. Zai's off by his own lonesome. And let's see if they can find a target. They're under cover of smoke. Era moving forward. He's going to spot Universe, or at least he should. Yep, there we go. Immediately lassoing him out. Behind that, though, we're going to see the Gale go off. Arteezy's there, drops the hammer again. Vacuum wall to help turn it around. So it's a 1-for-1 so far as they lost the Centaur. Mason's coming in from the high ground, though. Zai able to pick off Era right in front of him. Down go the wards coming out from Fly. Let's see if they've enough damage. I don't think they are, and they won't be. That's a 5-for-1 exchange, and that might be the last straw for this Fnatic lineup. They had a chance there. They rotated as a team, but once again, EG just playing it out so well. And Fnatic just has never seemed to really put it all together in terms of what they can do team fight-wise. It seems like they're always a little too spread out, always a little out of position, while EG just executing on the back of excellent play, in particular coming out from Arteezy and Mason, as well as Universe, really, are just able to punish them every time they try to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about that are cool to comment on. One is, like, Fnatic sees that Storm is top, and they're thinking, oh, Storm's not there. He can't readily get available to help them out. Let's go on them. We'll have a 5v4. We'll have an advantage in numbers. The thing about that, though, is that Storm is so good in those situations because even if you're far away and you TP, he has all that mana to burn and just get into the fight very, very quickly. And it's also attributes to like an indirect, humongous buff of Tree because he can keep all these towers up.
Right.
You keep all these towers up, and it makes it easy for heroes to respond. And when you have a lineup like EG has, where every single one of their heroes is so good to the team fight and helping out others, that having all these towers for easy access to team fights is so helpful.
Arteezy lassoed at top. They tracked him down for a while, and there's going to be a defensive Astral. He's got help coming. Zai has a BKB. Keep that in mind. Don't know that it's going to be enough as Arteezy does end up dropping. And Zai, not sure what he was doing. If he was going to go, he needed to go. Instead, he wandered up, showed his face, and now he could be a return kill and will be. So Fnatic finding 2 kills, very much needed at just the right time. And it looked like Zai was a little hesitant and ended up costing him. But they actually tracked Arteezy forever. Arteezy was forward, and he ended up walking across this ward right here. And they tracked him all the way from here, all the way up, and caught him out there. So on the back of that, though, Fnatic does finally manage to bring down a tower. That's the first tower kill Fnatic's had all game.
Yeah, and we talked about this a lot when Lycan was in the game, but action and to Centaur. Trixie, he's going down for sure.
Mason has gone ham as he has not only a point or a soul booster, not only an Orchid up, but now has an Aegis and a bunch of gold on his way to his Bloodstone. 1,500 gold, in fact. 1,500 gold extra towards his Bloodstone. So he's getting to the point. I mean, a Storm that gets this far ahead at this stage of the game, 24 minutes in, and he's number 2 in CS behind Arteezy, who went a flippin' Midas and had that Midas up as his first item. Yeah, he's a little bit ahead.
Yeah, Storm is just really good in these situations and good against their heroes too. And looking at the graphs, EG has a solid hold on this. And as far as you mentioned, ways for Fnatic to come back, well, they made a start at least with 1 tower. Like I said before, it needs to be initiations away from towers, especially with Storm having so much mana, because with this mana pool of nearly 2,000 mana, it's going to be very easy for him to go, cross the map and to initiate, or to counter-initiate, I should say, on the Batrider Lasso.
Well, if there's anything else Fnatic has going with them, or going for them, it's also their item progression is beginning to come together a little bit. We have finally a mobility item up on the Shadow Shaman, No Tail. Or, excuse me, Fly, getting himself a Blink Dagger. No Tail drops a gem there. Pretty sure he bought that. Trixie did get up his Hood of Defiance as well. So it's looking pretty grim for Fnatic right now, but they do have a chance. They just have to put it, like I said before, they have yet to put it all together, really, and capitalize on all the potential this team has. Even the BKB is not far off for Era at this point. About 900 gold out. So this tier 2 doesn't look like they're going to be able to keep it up. And dodging fights might be the right answer. Good deny from Era. They're going to jump right on him, though. He's working it. He does Dark Pact it off, though. Hani's going to be caught from behind, though. Mason hits the Vortex. Vacuum into a wall. There's the OD ult as well. Mason will have the Aegis popped off of it, but only after 2 have died. The 2 most important initiators on the side of Fnatic anyway. And they are likely to go ahead and decide to push her. In fact, there's no buyback on Bat and no buyback on Centaur.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice deny by Slark, and as you can imagine, he Dark Pacted the Orchids, but Hani was up there, I think, a little bit too far and wanted to kind of help him with the deny or something, I'm not sure, but I just changed the tab to net worth, because for some reason I had it on last hits and denies, and I just noticed how freaking poor Era is in particular. He has nothing. Compare that to Hani, who was 3v1 as Slark last game, when he had, like, still a 50-minute Shadowblade Treads Aquila. And again, it's not really, it's not Era's fault by any means. I really question, you know, we talked about, oh, hold that thought as there's some initiation.
Mason's going to counter-initiate, Fly going to drop, Universe is right there, that's got to be GG. It's gotten to the point now, the items are too big, they may end up, they're going to get Trixie, there it is. And Scythe of Ice, by the way, was picked up even at the beginning of that by Artesian. Tell you what, man, EG, like I said during the draft, when they had 2 of the exact same heroes, it don't matter if it's a square peg and a round hole. You bang hard enough, you'll make that bastard fit. And they sure as hell did, 30-14, as they run away with game 2 and tie this series up 1-1.
Yeah, but what I was saying about the early game is I really don't know why No2L just didn't start bottom. Like, it really baffles me. Like, especially when, okay, their lanes were quite obvious because I don't think that EG was in a position to do an aggressive tri-lane against the heroes of Fnatic. That would just be silly. So, that aside, you know that they're going to have a Darkseer off lane. Why not at least just try to shut him down from level 1? If you make him go to the jungle, then maybe you can have some kind of rotations and do some fancy stuff where No2L farms mid against OD and then, you know, you maximize your resources with Bat in the jungle. But why not at least just start bottom and try to, because they for one, they would have got a kill when they I don't know if you saw, but they shackled him early on, and like I said, he's going to have Shell level 1. Like, I don't think Darkseers ever get Surge. It just seems bad to me. So I think that was the biggest thing. I think they didn't shut down Universe. As a result, look at Era's farm. He had nothing. He had 300 gold per minute. Obviously, that's skewed because, you know, it's the end game and EG's gotten so many kills, but he didn't get the farm that he needed to as a one-position Slark.
Well, that was only half their problem, too. Like you said, they were kind of starving across the board. You look at the final net worth tally, and you're talking the top 3 all belonging to EG, but that even that's misleading, as the number 1 for them was Arteezy with that Midas at 15,356 in overall net worth, nearly the highest on the entire side of Fnatic, which was actually the Bat, and more than double, or right at double, actually, the Slark. But yeah, they were broke, but they also didn't do anything to shut down the cores. Like, really, what did they do to disrupt Mason's farm at all? What did they do to disrupt Arteezy at all? They had a couple of decent plays once the blink came out on the Bat, and a couple of decent rotations. I mean, you can see Arteezy did die 5 times, but at the same time, they weren't able to really slow him down all that much. He gave up that one ugly first blood in mid. And then after that, he was picked off here and there, but for the most part, if they gave too much attention to him, Mason flourished. If they gave too much attention to Mason, and we saw that blow up in their face a couple of times, Arteezy flourished. It was just very well played across the board for EG. Standout performers, the 2 cores finish up at a collective 19-7. Not unbelievable, but certainly damn good.
PBD had the exact same score as last game, by the way.
Hey, he's
3-1 and 7. I was going to mention that because it was funny. I thought it was funny that they lost pretty badly, but he was still 3-1 and 7 on Tree.
Man.